So let's start talking about this first match that we're going to see here. You guys mentioned earlier it's going to be Splyce versus Panda Global. Now, both of these teams at opening week, they felt a little shaky, like they were maybe just tournament jitters or something. Splyce came in, they went down 0-2 to start off their series versus Pen and Paper, and then they were able to get the reverse sweep, getting 3 games in a row to be able to take that series. But it was looking really shaky for them for a little while. Panda Global, on the other hand, as well, they've been a really solid team. They were one of our top teams, obviously coming out of the North American region all the way up through regionals. But they've been a little bit shaky at opening week as well. Sid, you want to talk us through this matchup a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Jelly Beans is kind of the rock of their team. He's kind of kept the glue together, even though they became unhinged at the start of their series previous weekend. They got it all together, and Jelly Beans was the glue that did that. So really looking to see how he performs here in this matchup specifically. Can he be that MVP? Do they maybe put him on the bench? Maybe they even try a different composition? I feel like at this point you have to have Jelly Beans in the arena. You're going to be just disadvantaging yourself for no reason. And then on the other side with Splyce, it also seemed like they might have out-mind gamed themselves. They wanted to play different setups, constantly changing their comps early on, and then going back to their original one at the start with Thugonomics on Demon Hunter and Chun-Li on Windwalker Monk. So we might see them start off with that. It would be amazing to see Chun-Li, Thugonomics, Novos going up with their Demon Hunter Windwalker, a setup that we don't see. They're basically the only team that play it against Panda Global, which also have some unique compositions as well, but I expect kind of the more classic Thundercleave from them.
Definitely. I think those are all fair expectations. I am also really hoping to see that Demon Hunter Windwalker composition because it's a really, really fun one to watch. Zico, talk us through Panda Global a little bit. What are you sort of expecting to see come out of them here?
So Panda Global have a couple of options. They are a little bit scared of that Windwalker DK, which of course Splyce is kind of bread and butter composition. But Panda Global have, they have obviously Jelly Ellie, Thundercleave, which is Ellie, Warrior, Resto Druid, and they also have Feral Druid, Hunter comp with Rubcup switching between that Restoration Shaman as well as that Holy Paladin. They got a bunch of different things that they can bring to the table, and honestly, Panda Global, they have some really, really good compositions. A little bit limited maybe on the healer side as Rubcup doesn't play that Disc Priest, but at the end of the day, they have insanely well-played, well-coordinated team synergy, as well as really good individual performances coming out of Jelly Beans, especially, as you mentioned, Sid.
Yeah, and you can just see them on your screen right now. These guys they're excited to be here. They're happy. They're looking forward to these games. I'm looking forward to these games as well. One thing that you mentioned there, Zico, is that the Windwalker Death Knight composition that we've seen so many people running. And Jared, you want to talk us through a little bit? What's making Windwalker DK just so strong right now?
Well, Windwalkers right now are just a very, very versatile class. They can definitely hit and run play style if they do choose to play Serenity as their level 100 talent. Very, very bursty, on demand. That's the scary moment during the match. And luckily, Splyce has arguably the best Windwalker in the world on their team, Chun-Li. And so having someone like that, he's going to be the player that's going to set up the kills. You know, having a Demon Hunter to constantly be around, harassing the enemy casters if needed, harassing the enemy healers, landing the ranged incapacitate with that imprison, so then they can immediately both burst on a target very, very quickly.
Yep, so we will see how they're going to play that out here in this first game. It's just about to get started, actually. Before we get into this first match of BlizzCon 2017, we do have a quick video we're going to show you guys, which will walk you through our spectator interface. We'll be right back.
To help follow along with the action, we've built a spectator interface that shows you all the information you need. Let's walk through it so you know exactly what to look out for during combat. For each player, we have 2 rows of spells located underneath their health bar. The first row of icons you see are defensive abilities that reduce or prevent damage. When a player activates a vital defensive cooldown like Divine Shield, you'll see a blue shield effect pop up. Players will be harder to kill while these spells are active. The bottom row of ability icons you see are offensive cooldowns. These will be abilities that greatly increase a player's damage output or how much healing they're able to generate as a healer. When a player activates a strong offensive cooldown, a visible fire effect appears behind their health bar. They'll be very dangerous while that's active. In the top right corner of each player's frame, you can see which of the 3 anti-crowd control honor talents they've picked. These are powerful abilities that remove or reduce incoming crowd control effects. Lastly, if matches go on for a long period of time, the healers will have to contend with the built-in dampening effect. Dampening kicks in once 5 minutes have elapsed and reduces the effectiveness of all healing spells and effects. Now you're ready to follow along with the fast-paced action of the World of Warcraft arena.
First game is underway between Panda Global and Splyce. Casters, take it away.
That is what I want to see. Panda Global playing that jungle cleave. Wallabear and Jellybeans have been playing together for so long that it is awesome to see them on their mains.
Yeah, both teams are leading off with their strongest main composition, pressure on Jellybeans early on, as Rubcup is positioned very far away, making sure that he's got Earth Shield set up. Walla is going to engage. Jellybeans is moving over to start some crowd control, but wasn't able to land the trap, so Novos will be able to dodge that. He's going to maybe look for a Wyvern Sting instead. In the meantime, we see Splyce pulling the trigger, jumping immediately onto Rubcup in the back line, trying to gun him down. He trades out Astral Shift. He should be able to tank the rest of these stuns. Imprison used onto Jellybeans, just trying to slow down some of the incoming pressure, and Rubcup seems to be the train target here, start to finish. See how he deals with this pressure, VL.
All right, Thug is taking a little bit of damage, so is Chun-Li. Novo's sitting with full mana right now, just needs to roll those hots to make sure his team can stay offensive. Looks like they're gonna go for the split right now. Thug's trying to stay on the back of Jellybeans right now, but unfortunately he's gonna have Wallabear to deal with lots of damage. They got him loaded up to proc. Oh no, Jellybeans taking a ton of damage in that Fist of Fury stun.
Yeah, tons of bursts coming out from Chun-Li there early on. The pressure is still mounting as Rubcup falls more and more behind. Walla could easily fall. Chun-Li getting more crowd control effects. Walla barely stays alive, burning his last arsenal. Now a stun onto Rubcup, and Splyce are all over Panda Global. All three players looking to die at any moment as Rubcup desperately tries to cling onto life. Ascendance pops, boosting that healing just a little bit, but Chun-Li rolls over, interrupts that heal. Can they land another is the question. Healing wave, healing surge. It seems like Rubcup is going to be able to pull off a miracle recovery.
And that was great offensive pressure by Splyce onto Wallabear. He did have his incarnation active and would had to play defensive because they almost bursted him down so quickly. Both teams are sitting very healthy. Looks like Splyce is gonna go for Rubcup yet again. Nope, looks like Thug is gonna run away just a little bit, getting back to Novos. He's taking a lot of damage right now.
Yeah, full trap landed by Jellybeans as Panda Global look to reverse the pressure in their favor. Thuganomics caught into that stun for now, but Novos has gotten an easy recovery thanks to Thuganomics' teamwork. He got him out of that full trap, and now he can get him fully topped off while the bear is being pressured. It looks like Chun-Li wants to switch his attention over to Rubcup. Thuganomics is going to jump into that brawl as well. Tons of damage to follow this up, down to about half HP. Rubcup trying to play greedy, holding onto his defensive cooldowns, but that could be a greedy move that he regrets as they follow up with more pressure down to half HP. It seems like the pressure is starting to fall away. Rubcup tanking through the interrupts. Now he's recovered. They're going to split their attention to Wallabear. He's cleaved down to about half. He's going to jump into the fight though. Jellybean's looking to follow up. Full trap has been landed. Can they reverse the pressure? Can Panda Global get some damage on the board? Because right now it's completely in favor of Splyce.
And that was Touch of Death that just procced onto Rubcup, bursting him down a little bit. Great incapacitated onto Wallabear so that they can focus onto Rubcup. Another successful kick followed by an Arcane Torrent. This is a lot of damage. Chun-Li's, wow, Touch of Karma just coming back up. He does have his shield wall active, that fortifying group.
Yeah, he's going to trade out Touch of Karma to go aggressive. He senses weakness in Rubcup early on. His mana bar is about to be tapped, landing interrupt after interrupt. Will Rubcup sustain himself? Now caught collapsing, and Splyce claim game number 1 here on the BlizzCon stage.
And it's just a ticking time bomb when you're playing against that Windwalker and Demon Hunter. They have so many opportunities to go offensive, and they sealed the deal by killing Rubcup.
Yeah, so Splyce will take game number 1 in this series. I love the little fist bumps. You got denied there for a second, actually, but then he managed to get the fist bump out at the end. Wow, that is a lot of pressure coming out with Splyce in that first game. Zico, what did you think of that?
I think this was a really intelligent pick from Splyce. They know that the Panda Global is going to be expecting them to play that Windwalker DK, so they switch out the DK for that Demon Hunter who can free his healer from those traps with the reverse magic. So I really like that adaptation. And then I also like the fact that they kind of had the Rubcup, as their primary kill target. So whenever they had offensive cooldowns, they would pop those on Rubcup, and then they would kind of just hit the DPS and try to mitigate some of that damage, some of that pressure that they would be taking. And then eventually they managed to find a kill that way.
I really like what Splyce just did there. You can tell that they're veteran. They've got Novos and Thuganomics, land veterans for years now, and take the headsets off, come together, realize, hey, we're a team, we're a unit. Don't isolate yourselves, even though they won the game, and still stay focused as a team. So I really like that from Splyce. They're going to plan this out. I think they're looking to try and clean sweep Panda Global. Let's see if Panda Global have an answer.
Right. One of the little plays that I really liked was when Chun-Li's Touch of Karma came back up, he saw that Rubcup had Thorns active, so he just tossed it on him and DPS straight through it, reflecting more damage back to him.
Yep, and Zico, you actually have a few clips that you picked out that you wanted to walk us through, right?
Absolutely. So first off, I want to be showing off a couple of win conditions for both teams. Kind of, this is what Splyce needs to do to win, and then this is what Panda Global needs to do to win. And right here, we have one of those setups where Splyce right now is going onto Rubcup. If we can go ahead and roll that clip, and we're going to see Rubcup caught into that leg sweep. And then because of this beautifully done bash onto Chun-Li, he's actually going to go ahead and escape with his life intact, so to speak. But that is basically the setup that you want to see out of Splyce. And then here we got another clutch situation here where everybody was kind of just dropping very low. And this is Panda Global's turn to do a DPS rotation there. We got the main, follow that up with the knockback, and we can see everybody dropping so low. Rubcup making basically a miraculous recovery right there. Very well done from him. And then also here in the next clip, we see another maim, follow that up with a trap from Jellybeans. This is the textbook kind of play that you want to do as Panda Global to try to win the game. So you trap up the healer and then you try to kill Chun-Li or Thugonomics. And then finally here we got the kill, the offensive karma, as Jared pointed out. Follow that up with a kick into a DR leg sweep. Beautiful, beautiful Windwalker gameplay coming out of Chun-Li. What would we expect? Just a clean game.
Yeah, and you could even see like Chun-Li was following up that leg sweep that Rubcup died during the leg sweep, but he was following it up with a Fist of Fury as well. So that's very, very well done pressure there from Splyce to be able to make sure to maintain all of those different crowd control abilities to give them as long of a window as possible to actually get the kill there. So as we mentioned earlier, this now means that it's going to be Panda Global's map pick. Jared, where do you think they're going to want to go from here?
I mean, they have a lot of options, especially with Jellybeans playing that hunter. You know, they really like to go onto maps such as Ruins of Lordaeron, so something they can rush down. But unfortunately, on the opposite side, Splyce has pretty much every answer for that kind of strategy, as you saw. Even though Wallabear and Jellybeans were going extremely offensive, you know, almost killing Thugonomics at one point very early on in the match, they were able to answer the damage right away. So it does look like they are going to be going to Tiger's Peak. Pretty well rounded map. For pretty much every comp they can play.
Yeah, Tiger's Peak, I used to say before Val'Sharah came along that Tiger's Peak was the most similar to Nagrand Arena, and it still kind of is. There's a couple of little different things that you can do there with the little platforms, and the pillars are a bit bigger than on some other maps. But it's interesting to see Splyce just immediately locking back in that Demon Hunter Windwalker, and I think that makes sense. Like talking about Tiger's Peak and looking at that as a map, there's no reason that that can't work just as well as it did on the Grand Arenas.
All right.
That's interesting, though.
That's the composition that actually got them here. Their Demon Hunter and their Marksmanship Hunter. Rosita was MVP at the NA Regionals with his Death Knight and Demon Hunter, and they were matching up with Jellybeans' Hunter, and it ended up being an interesting pair. I'm really interested to see how it plays against this specific composition. Maybe the Demon Hunter will have better peels for Rubcup, but they might just go all in. It's going to be a difficult matchup to predict because this is something we have not seen.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very all-in kind of strategy from Panda Global. I would be very surprised if we don't see Rubcup pick that Electrocute talent and kind of just go all in with those purges. As soon as they land a trap that doesn't get dispelled by the enemy Demon Hunter, I would expect Panda Global to just put all their eggs in one basket and just try to rush the kill. Most likely going to be seeing Thugonomics be the target for them.
And by the way, look at that stage. Is that not incredible? This stage looks amazing. And you can even see like all the little, like their logos are on the flags and stuff in the back. They really did an amazing work on that stage. But talking about this game we're about to see here again a little bit, do you think that, so my theory here is that a lot of what's going to come down to in this game is going to be the imprisons. When are the Demon Hunters landing their imprisons, and what are they doing to follow up on it? One of the biggest things that you can look at is who are they putting those imprisons on. If they're putting it on the healer, then they're trying to be aggressive and get a kill. If they're putting it on a DPS, then they're feeling defensive and they're feeling scared. But we're about to find out. Game 2 is about to get underway here. Panda Global down 0-1 versus Splyce. Are they going to start their comeback here, or is Splyce going to continue their momentum moving forward?
Yeah, and so it does look like Thugonomics and Rosita Jones are pretty much playing identical spec. They're going to be playing that Fell Barrage with momentum, but the only difference is Rosita Jones is not going to be playing reverse magic, since there isn't very many magic dispellable things that are going to be affecting his healing.
Yep, it's definitely important for Thugonomics, though, to be playing reverse to get the traps from Jellybeans off of his healer. And the teamwork between Thugonomics and Novos will be critical to break up their crowd control and build pressure. Rosita and Thugonomics are eager to get into this fight, jumping in right away. Chun-Li rolling over on his mount, getting an early incapacitate. Double stun, great crowd control from Splyce early on. They can build a lot of pressure off the top of this. Severe to follow up. All three players dipping low, and Rubcub is in a hard position. Drops his Healing Tide totem, trying to pick up some AoE healing. It's important that he doesn't overlap Ascendance with Healing Tide. He needs to split those up for AoE recoveries. He's doing a good job so far, but Rosita may have overextended. Rubcub's trying to chase him down. He's going on for a 1v1. Rosita versus Thugonomics here in the back line. Rosita forced to kite away as Thugonomics is chasing him down, gunning for another early kill here in the first round. Rosita now triggering out of that stun to try and make a getaway. Rubcub having a difficult time dealing with this split pressure, now getting interrupted himself. He's trying to jump to safety, but you cannot jump away from a Demon Hunter and a Windwalker monk. He's so dangerously low, trades on his totems, trying to recover to be even lower. Another interrupt landed. How will Rubcub deal with this? A silence to follow it up. Now into a full duration stun. Will they be able to find the kill? Thugonomics is getting peeled by Jellybeans. Once again, Jellybeans MVP keeping Rubcub alive here, but they just relentless with these cast bar stops. Rubcub just can't get a heal off. He's trying to make a getaway. Will he be able to hold off? One healing surge connects. He will survive. Now Panda Global leading the charge with Novos dipping low, but Thugonomics peels them away. Novos trying to make a getaway. Will they be able to keep up the chase is the question. Rosita's gunning for that early kill. Lands the stun. Novos is almost going down there. Perfect time reverse magic from Thugonomics to keep Novos alive.
Oh, it was. They bursted him so far down low. That was the True Shot aura that caused that right there. So that huge offensive cooldown from Jellybeans right there. But Chun-Li getting kind of low, but he does have that touch of Karma still. Gonna go offensive with the Storm Earth and Fire. Rosita Jones down to half right now. Rubcub needs to try to heal him up, but that was a great trap onto Nova. Chun-Li and Thug both getting pretty low.
Yeah, Touch of Karma has been traded out. This has been back and forth constantly. It's still anybody's match. Nice Earth Grab route there. Chun-Li is going to be stuck in the center of the map for some time. Great work by Rubcub. Now his team can get aggressive. Novo's dipping low. No bark skins for quite some time. He needs to stay out of line of sight. Thugonomics now getting swapped to. I love these swaps from Panda Global. They need to keep constant pressure on multiple targets, but it looks like Splyce are going to jump onto the back of Rubcub. Rosita trying to force them away with counter pressure. Metamorphosis has been popped. Rubcub trying to get up some heals, looking to fake cast the interrupts, but they're in his head. He can't get through the interrupts. One landed. Can they follow it up again? Doesn't seem like they can. Thugonomics is pressured away. Jellybeans is doing a great job to make sure he's landing crowd control on Novos. Full trap into a full stun. Now they make the swap out of the stun. Perfect timing here. Imprison onto the Frenzy Regeneration, I believe, as well. Trying to catch Novos off guard. Chun-Li peeling Jelly away. Novos out of line of sight. Rosita still gunning him down. In the meantime, Thugonomics is gunning down Rubcub. Who will fall first is question. Darkness dropped by Rosita. Perfectly timed for Rubcub to make a recovery, but mana is going to be the name of the game here, and Rubcub is running out of it.
He is. That's a gigantic defensive cooldown. You have to power through that darkness to be able to kill a team that has a Havoc Demon Hunter on it. Jellybean's still looking at his target onto Thugonomics. He's really has that range available to him. The team of Splyce is going to retreat just for a second. Novos is going to let those hot do some work.
Rubcub drinking? He needs to drink. He's in such a great position to drink. Rosita, he's trying to pull back, so Rubcub, he got a little bit of mana to keep himself in this match, but they swap to Jellybeans. Aspect of the turtle forced out by him as well. Panda Global make a recovery. They keep themselves in the match, but Rubcub needs to sustain. Rosita is still low. They're trying to kite back, retreat away, and recover. Rubcub now jumping away from the fight. Thugonomics chases. He fell rushes off the side, but luckily Demon Hunter double jump back up. Stun will land into the Fell Barrage combo. Chun-Li is following up with Fists of Fury, and Rubcub's trying to make a getaway. He gets paralyzed onto the end of that heal. Will Rubcub be able to deal with the pressure? Healing Tide totem plop down. He's going to make the jump back up on top to try and get away from Chun-Li. Chun-Li's not going to keep up. He's going to pull back and try and assist Novos. And Novos and Thugonomics seem to be pulling very far away from the fight. Well-timed Tranquility should top off Novos' team. In the meantime, though, Splyce are leading the aggression. Jellybeans and Rosita dipping low. Rubcub in a position far away from the fight, though, casting out those healing waves. He's still getting pressured. Chun-Li is going to swap over. Defensive cooldowns available in one. Will Rubcub be able to survive the assault using that Astral Shift to reduce the pressure? Will Rubcub handle it? Yes, Ascendance popped. His team has restabilized. In the meantime, Novos is falling behind. Thug is falling low on health. Great crowd control from Jellybeans is putting Splyce on the back foot.
Now Novos and Thug are going to hide behind the pillar just for a second. Needs to get him picked up in health, and there he's going to pop the meta onto Rubcub right now. Great Ursul's Vortex on top of that gust of wind. Great job, Novos. Novos gets locked. That touch death is going to just peter out onto Rubcub. No damage on top of it, so there it is.
Whoa, the swap over to Novos. Half of his health gone there by Rosita. Rosita forced into the imprison by Thug to allow Novos to recover. Jellybeans, though, with no aspect of the turtle, is going to get bursted down. And that trade-off for a drink earlier on will cost his life now as Splyce lead this series 2-0.
Series, how as time went on, the Panda Global, they were staying in it. They were staying in it for a long time, but they were just running out of steam towards the end of that there. So, yeah, that does mean that now Splyce is up 2-0 in this series. They're looking very, very strong here right now. We're going to find out if Panda Global actually has it in them to come back and take this series back. We do have a Twitch poll for you guys. If you would like to go ahead and vote along in the chat, we'll get some graphics up here in a second that will explain all of that quite cleanly and much better than I could do off the top of my head right now. There we go. Vote for your favorite team in Twitch chat. There's the two teams fighting right now. Use hashtag PG for Panda Global or hashtag SPY for Splyce. We can just go ahead and drop those votes in there and we'll get the results of that after this. But I gotta say, right now, it's looking like Splyce is gonna take this.
It's really good. I will say, though, that there are many, many moments during these matches that were extremely close. Panda Global almost securing a kill onto Thugonomics over and over and over. Great swaps onto Novos, but you know, the team of Splyce has been doing a great job peeling for each other. Chun-Li really making things happen with those stuns and those incapacitates.
Honestly, I want to see Panda Global switch in the Jelly Ellie. I want to see them play Thunder. I want to see them play for the long game and match the Resto Druid of Novos with Rob Cub's own Resto Druid, and then try to bring the game late and win that way on mana. Because as it is right now, if you pick a Resto Shaman into a Resto Druid, you are gonna have to rely on putting so much pressure out that you can just overwhelm the Resto Druid and kind of just rush him down. We saw one attempt of that onto Novos, I believe, but there was some good peels coming out of Splyce, and you know, it wasn't enough. And once that opportunity kind of fades, so does your all-in moment.
All right, well, we'll be moving on to Game 3 here very, very shortly. But first, we're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Panda Global is run by David and Alan. They're really cool. They both were like gamers themselves back in the day, and now they're running the org. But yeah, I don't know, Panda Global's like full of really cool people. I don't feel any more pressure now. There's like an org, just like last year. There's an org, you know, just gonna do how we do, and whatever happens, happens really. Yeah, I definitely tend to be emotional, like in terms of like how, you know, on stage and stuff like that. Like if we're doing well, you know, I feel like it's, you know, the vibe you bring to like definitely impacts your play. So if, you know, if we're all screaming and like super amped, then it's a lot better if we're all just like not even talking and very quiet and just like sitting there. It also just like intimidates your opponents. So I remember back to like last year whenever Spexman was just like screaming on stage. I could hear him through my earbuds like when we were playing. I just like, he's like screaming and I know what he's gonna do next. Just like super intimidating, I guess, to just hear that and like hear the other person and how like hyped they are. We definitely feel like an underdog team. You know, we don't really even play our main classes anymore, so it's just, at this point, we're just playing a whole bunch of alts, trying to like get enough games on it to think we can do well enough to beat something we counter, and that's about it.
Is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Welcome back, everybody. We are about to get underway with game number 3 here between Panda Global and Splyce. The draft has actually already been completed. We're going to be going to Ashmane's Fall, and both teams have locked in the same compositions. Sid, how do you feel about this choice from Panda Global?
I feel like Panda Global are saying that they're not confident in RubCub's Druid. They want to play with his Shaman instead. They did defeat Set to Destroy X in the North American Regionals, playing a similar composition to what Splyce is running, but I think the Druid is a much better variant against the Demon Hunter than the Holy Priest was for Set to Destroy X back in that tournament. So I don't think this is going to end up working out for them. I agree with Zico. I feel like the Thundercleave would have been a better overall answer, but if they're not confident in his play or their practice on that composition, I can understand why they're going with this.
Yeah, it makes sense. And Splyce is certainly looking very, very strong right now. This is not the team that we saw sort of being a little shaky at opening week. They have definitely been putting in some practice time and making sure that they're prepared here on the BlizzCon stage. So we'll get into this game here in just a second. But Zico, how do you feel about the way that Splyce has been taking this so far?
I think Splyce has been playing phenomenally so far. Especially impressed with Chun-Li on that Windwalker. He's been kind of leading the charge. We saw in the previous game, he was charging in immediately onto RubCub, incapacitating him, waiting until the end, then doing his double stun lock combo. And while he was doing that, we saw his teammates, Thugonomics, go really, really crazy on the DPS, cleaving both of them down. So the team play has been looking really crisp. And usually our question has kind of been about Novos, but Novos has been playing phenomenally too. So Splyce is just looking like a revitalized, new, oiled-up machine and ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. They are gassed up and ready to go, and so are we. The game is about to get underway here. Splyce up 2-0 versus Panda Global. If they win this, they will close out that series.
Now, one of the interesting talent choices for Resto Shamans in a game that you know is going to be pretty quick, and maybe that's what they're planning on this one, is he's going to be playing Electrocute, which means every time he purges off one of Novos' hots, it's going to put a damage over time effect on the target. So we'll have to see RubCub basically dumping his mana bar into those purges.
Yeah, let's see if RubCub and Panda Global can get their aggression going, because Splyce is really leading this series right now in a dominating position. As the gates have opened, Chun-Li and Thugonomics are going to charge to center field and meet them blow for blow. RubCub trying to set up. It does look like they're going straight for Novos, and they're actually trapping the DPS. So it does seem like Panda Global are going to go all in for the kill on Novos early on. He deflects with a bark skin, and he's able to easily line of sight.
Yeah, but Rosita Jones taking a ton of damage down there, down to half, eating a big heal from RubCub. But we do have Chun-Li popping his offensive cooldowns pretty early onto Rosita Jones. Looks like we're going to have a swap on to RubCub. Great kick by Chun-Li, and it looks like Thug is going to go into Metamorphosis form also, trying to get a little bit of heals on that. But wow, Rosita Jones getting so low, forcing the Spirit Link Totem. This is already a quick game.
Yeah, RubCub could just fall. This is match point for Panda Global. Will RubCub be able to pull off another miracle? Miracle. Chun-Li is trying to deny it for as long as possible, but healing surges are coming in. Rubcup manages to stay alive, and now Novo's potentially on the back foot, hiding behind the line of sight, knowing that he's going to be the primary target here for Panda Global. Panda Global are throwing caution to the wind. They say if we can't all in the Druid, there is nothing else for us. They're going to chase him down. He's trying to make a getaway, blinking across the map, getting out of line of sight once again. But in the meantime, they've got Rosita into the Chaos Nova. Splyce are looking to claim victory. A Darkness dropped right between that stun lock combo. Rosita immediately, though, gunning down for Novos. He does not care. Caution has been thrown away. They're just going to train down the rest of the Druid. They got Barkskin with that stun. One more clean setup on Novos, and Panda Global might be able to pull off a miracle.
They just have to live to that next setup because that Barkskin is going to be down. Ironbark's going to be back up pretty soon. We do have a reverse magic onto that full shot that landed, but Rosita Jones is just taking so much damage and gets cleaved down with those Storm, Earth, and Fire clones.
Yeah. That out with a nice quick 3-0 there. Very, very well played from Splyce. They are going to close out this series and take the victory over Panda Global.
This was just such a dominant performance out of Splyce. Like, I don't know what they had in their coffee this morning, but Chun-Li is just been crazy. Thugonomics as well, backing him up with so much damage there. And, you know, they managed to clean sweep Panda Global 3-0 already.
Yeah, I really like the pace of how Splyce was playing. Even though there were moments when we saw their life bars spike down so low, and they were playing with a Resto Druid, which means they really have to make those heal over time effects, you know, work. It takes a little bit. There were some times that they definitely did go behind the pillar and hide when they absolutely could not go offensive. But other than those moments, they would get a trinket out of Rubcup, they would get his Spirit Link Totem, they would switch over to Rosita, they would get the Darkness, and they were just constantly choosing the target that they wanted to kill and bouncing back and forth.
Absolutely. They were kind of swapping between the Earth Shield as well, paying a lot of respect to that. And that's the best way. If you're playing with the Druid against the Shaman, you want to be playing under pressure and still making offensive choices like we saw here. And, you know, it's very surprising that they managed to win this fast, but nonetheless, very, very great performance from Splyce.
Yeah, very, very well done by Splyce there to be able to close that out. Panda Global, I'm not sure, like, it seemed like they were just having a really hard time dealing with Splyce's aggression there, but obviously they're not out of it yet. They will still be able to fight their way through the rest of their group. And you could even see a few moments ago as Splyce walked over to sort of shake their hands and stuff. You could even see at that point that they were still very, very much in high spirits. There were smiles on their faces. They're not that upset about the loss. So good luck to Panda Global through the rest of the tournament for them. Splyce taking this series 3-0. I believe that puts them 2-0 in their group, if I remember correctly.
That is correctly. They won their first game against Pen and Paper. And Pen and Paper played that Thundercleave. So that's why I also alluded a little bit to that I wanted to see Panda Global's Thundercleave. But they ended up not picking it. Maybe Splyce went back and did their homework after that close series against Pen and Paper, and they found something to answer for that. So maybe that's why I didn't pick it.
Quite possibly, but we do have Jackson Bajira Blighton down on stage for a winner's interview with Splyce.
Hey, thank you so much, Josh. I am standing by with Novo, fresh off of his victory. First game won on the new World of Warcraft stage. That is pretty fantastic. So last week, we saw you guys come out with a little bit of a slow start, but that is not the case at all this week. What changed for you guys?
I think we were kind of nervous last week being on stage. I mean, we're always pretty nervous on stage, but also the Pen and Paper caught us off guard. I thought they were a lot better than we anticipated them to be. And the matchup, just in general, they played it pretty well.
And speaking of matchups, so historically you guys are a little bit more known for your Windwalker DK composition, but recently we've been seeing you guys bust out the Demon Hunter Windwalker. What's the story behind that comp?
I think it's because every team in the tournament was preparing to fight Windwalker DK. They've all prepared counters for it, and no one really knows exactly what to expect against Windwalker Demon Hunter. I'm pretty sure not many people watching do either. So.
Yeah, it seems like every time people start queuing a little too high on the ladder, the Splyce Windwalker DK or the Windwalker Demon Hunter sometimes finds them, and I think that's the situation that's going on here at this tournament right here. So once we are, like we said before, this is the first game, the first series won on our new World of Warcraft stage at BlizzCon. What does that do for your team's morale moving forward?
And it's making us feel better and better that we're not just going to choke. I think we're looking pretty good going into the rest of the tournament. So I think we're pretty confident we're going to at least perform well, but we want to win. So.
Absolutely. It seems like you guys kind of shook off those nerves at opening week. You guys are coming in strong at this brand new stage here at BlizzCon, looking good. Definitely looking forward to see you guys continue to kick butt in this tournament, but let's go ahead and throw it back to Josh and keep these games rolling.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jackson. Always good to hear from Novos as well. I really love how he's talking about the sort of extra mind games that you end up playing to really do well in a tournament. He's saying everybody's been preparing for Windwalker DK. No one knows what to do with a Windwalker Demon Hunter, and that's really, really smart. And you could see that really, really worked out well for him there. You know what I really liked about that interview? Novos is wearing all this Splyce, the Splyce jersey and the Splyce hoodie, with Splyce sweatpants too. It seems like those guys are just, what they were saying, just super comfortable on stage, and that actually makes a big deal. You're not at home, you're not sitting in front of your computer, you don't have the access to add-ons that you had before when you were practicing, so it's great to see them come onto the stage, extremely comfortable. It looks like every time that we saw the pictures or the shots of them, all smiles, they were all really happy, seemed like they were calm, no panicking. So I'm excited to see what Splyce does this tournament.